Okay.
Everybody recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Gabby, you're gonna do the intro on three. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're back today. Stars on the mic. Elton Aguilera here with Stars Miami, and today we have.
Ralph Cutié, Director and CEO of Miami International Airport.
Thank you for taking the time to meet with us, and thank
Sure.
you for having us here.
My pleasure.
At MIA, Miami International Airport, this amazing airport here. Today we're going to tackle the airport, air services, everything that the airport has to provide for our inclusive community, accommodations, families traveling. We are entering the busiest travel season of the year. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. First question, let me ask you, how many extra passengers or visitors do you expect to have to come to Miami International Airport within the next week?
Sure. So we expect during the Thanksgiving season, which is about the 10-day period. Thanksgiving is no longer for us, it's not a 2 or 3 day holiday. It's not Thursday. So it starts now, tomorrow, November 23rd. We'll start kicking off what we call the Thanksgiving crunch period for us. So it's about a 10 to 12 day period. So we're expecting during that period of time approximately 1.8 million more passengers than we usually get. So it's about 2% over last year. So we will probably be averaging between 157 to 168,000 passengers a day during that time.
Wow.
For an additional, like I said, 1.8 million for the season. So it's really that, and Christmas and the holidays is our busiest time of year. So we will get our 3 busiest days will be tomorrow, November 23rd, next Saturday, which is November 30th, and then December 1st, which is that Sunday. So that weekend after Thanksgiving is a very busy time for us, as is tomorrow, because tomorrow is when people start traveling and going away to visit families, as if school just ended.
Correct.
So all that kind of comes together to make our busiest time of year. So we're excited and we're ready, but it's going to be a busy time.
This is I'm assuming it's like all hands on deck. This is like your Super Bowl.
It is like our Super Bowl every time that we enter into the holidays. Here at MIA, we don't have peaks and non-peaks anymore because we're so busy now. We're on track to beat last year's record. We're going to probably hit anywhere between 56 and 57 million passengers this year. Last year we had 52.3.
Wow.
So we're trending about 7% over last year's record-breaking year. So that's how busy we are. So yeah, it is kind of like our Super Bowl because this is our busiest time of year. Obviously we have other busy seasons like spring break, Art Basel. We also have Formula One. When Formula One comes in February, we have a really busy time.
But do those compare to this week coming up?
The holidays are our busiest time.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Thanksgiving and Christmas are our busiest time. But it's not our first rodeo. We've dealt with it before, and we're always ready. Our parking garages get a little bit full sometimes, and our staff works to kind of coordinate that and work around that. But we'll be ready to go we always are.
That was the point. Yeah, we wanted to get this information out to the families before they travel. So again, thank you for meeting with us.
Of course, my pleasure.
All right, so with the high time of travel coming and everything, let's jump right into it. So if a family is traveling or an individual and they have a disability or a special needs, like we could start with mobility issues. How does the airport help accommodate travelers with mobility issues?
Sure. So we have multiple ways that we assist travelers with disabilities. For example, our airline partners, our stakeholders, they all provide wheelchairs. They provide wheelchair service that can be requested for passengers that have some kind of mobility needs or whatever. They have that. We also have a brand new program which we kicked off as a pilot with American back several months ago, which is our autonomous wheelchair program. So it's a program where we have wheelchairs that are powered and they're autonomous. They function on their own. They're robotic.
Really?
And you can request them through your phone. And we have about I think it's 10 of them going throughout the terminal, and they move approximately 120 American Airlines passengers a day that have special needs. So you can actually request a wheelchair, get in the wheelchair.
Phone.
Yeah, and then you can hit a pad. There's a touch pad on the wheelchair, and it will take you to your gate where you have to go. So that is one innovative technology solution that we're applying. So we have that. We have, I think we're one of the few airports in the country, I think we were the first, to have wheelchair charging stations. We have accessibility stations for charging of wheelchairs throughout the terminal, and I can get to the locations of where they are. We've won awards. We were, I think, the first airport in the state of Florida, and I think the second airport in the U.S. There's an organization called Airports Council International, and they keep track of our stats and that kind of thing. And we won an award from ACI for one of our programs, which was our wheelchair accessibility and charging program. So we're, again, first airport, I think we're first airport in the state of Florida and second airport in the country to have that ACI accreditation, like accessibility enhancement accreditation, which is something we're really proud of. So that's one. And we're also, I think, the first airport in the U.S. to have those autonomous wheelchairs that I mentioned.
That's
so
pretty cool. I've never heard of that before.
it is super cool. And again, this is just a start because I think we started out with 10, and then the idea is to build on it or whatever. And if it takes off, we can have them all throughout the terminal. Right now, we're only using them in North Terminal, but an American is using
of that. Wow.
super cool, super cool. And that, along a list of things. Another thing that we have is, besides the wheelchair charging stations, we have wheelchairs through with our airlines, and we can get into a little bit. Like for example, maybe we'll talk later on the as far as autistic children and things like that.
Yes.
I guess we can get into that later. But I
Yes,
think
that
those are
sounds
just some
good.
of the services we offer. You can get accessibility. We have accessibility in our passport control areas to passengers with disabilities. Obviously, all of our restrooms, et cetera, have
Yes.
ADA accommodations for individuals with special needs. So we are really, when it comes to individuals with accessibility issues and things like that, we're pretty much on the cutting edge with
this is
airports
all-
around the country. So we're pretty proud of that.
That's awesome. And yeah, you should be proud of that. Very cool.
Sure.
All right, so that's amazing for the mobility service you guys offer. Is there an additional fee for any of those?
No, there's not.
What about like any visual impairments or somebody who's deaf? Like what kind of
Sure.
services? Do you
So we
provide
have
for
a
them?
couple of things. So we have the IRA Airport Network, which is a free mobile service that allows blind or low vision travelers to receive navigation assistance as they come to our airport. And we also have a pilot that we just finished with a company through Miami-Dade AIDS Innovation Authority called Synapse,
Okay.
which allows hearing impaired passengers to be able to get signage and guide their way through the airport as well. So we have, and that's a pilot that we hope to make it a permanent thing here at MIA. So we just finished that pilot like a month ago.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to other disabilities like the autism spectrum. So if a child or a family of a child on the autism spectrum is traveling, what kind of services or accommodations can you provide for them?
Okay, so this specifically is a program and an area we're really proud of. So we have multiple things. So we have our MIA Tours program,
Okay.
which is, if you've heard of it, we've been running this program for the last 9 years. And what this program does is it allows children that are on the spectrum to have an airport experience as they come through the airport. So they will come, check in at the ticket counter, get their boarding pass, they'll go through TSA, go through that, basically the entire travel process, and then actually get on an aircraft. And,
Wow.
and American helps us out with that a lot. They'll get on an aircraft and sit in their seat, like if they're going ready for takeoff. Basically, go through the entire travel experience. And the reason that's important is because you know very well, kids that are on the spectrum, they do not do well with changes in environment,
Yes.
et cetera. So it basically familiarizes them with the environment of how it is to move through an airport.
Yes, yes.
So they'll go through the entire experience. I mean, and think about it. Traveling is frustrating for
as an adult.
as an adult,
yes.
that's been and done it a bunch of times. It's frustrating. For a child that's on the spectrum, even more challenging. So it's a great program, and Commissioner Regalado has been a real champion of the program. So over the last 9 years, we've had 240 children come through the program, and I do it every year. I think we have 2 events a year where they come through, and we'll meet them all over at the end of North Terminal, and we'll process them through their checkpoint. They'll go there with bags, and they'll get their boarding passes, and then we'll walk them through TSA. They'll go through the checkpoint, get screened, and then ultimately get walked to the gate and put on a plane. So they basically go through that entire travel experience with their parents or with a
Yes,
loved one.
yes.
And the reason that's important is that if the kids are ultimately going to travel at some time in the future, it's almost like a dry run. When you go
Yes.
through the program enough times, it becomes less and less daunting and intimidating.
And for the
Because-
parents just to be able to say, hey, remember we did this?
Exactly.
That helps so much.
So
yes.
with that program, we are so proud of that program because of that, because it has been so successful. And if you see some of the photographs that we take with the kids when they go through, the smiles on their faces, that's worth $1 million. So that is great. And then we also have what you and I are wearing, which are our lanyard program. So
Yes.
this lanyard basically identifies a child with a special need or a child that has an unseen disability like autism, so that if they have some kind of issue in the line, all of our staff has been trained to recognize this lanyard and what to do when a child has an issue in one of the lines. Our TSA partners as well, they've been trained also. So when they see the lanyard, they know what the lanyard means and what steps they have to take to be able to de-escalate the situation, help the child, maybe take them out of the line with the parent, calm them down, put them back in the line. So those are just 2 things that we have that are extremely, not only, they're great for the kids, but it's something we're very, very proud of. It's something, it helps the community, and there's a lot. I think it's,
A lot.
you know the stats better than I do, but I think it's 1 out of every 10 children
I believe it's 1 in every 33.
Wow.
now. Yes. So the MIA staff are all trained in de-escalation strategies.
Correct.
How to help.
How to calm
help.
how to calm a child down if they're having an episode. How to get them out of the line. As quietly as possible. Try to calm them down, and then ultimately get them back in the line and get them through. And the MIA Tours program helps with that because it makes that entire process less unfamiliar.
Yes.
So once they come here, it's not new. So there's less of a chance. It's better to be proactive than to have to handle it the first time. So we handle it on both fronts. We have the training for the lanyards so that the children, when they go through, if something happens, there's staff on hand to be able to handle the situation because they've been trained on how to identify a child that's wearing this and how to deal with the situation. But more importantly, we're being proactive because the child that's gone through the program is not unfamiliar.
Yes.
Exactly. So it makes it less likely that an episode will happen. So we have that. And then we have the multi-sensory rooms, which you saw. We have one in Concourse D and one in Concourse J. And children that are on the spectrum can go there and enjoy time in a very nice multi-sensory room where, again, they can be calm, relaxed, enjoy some quiet time with their family before they board their flight or even after. So we have, those are three just small areas, but they make a big difference.
It's huge, especially in traveling. Like you said, traveling is stressful enough. So to be able to offer these services to their family is a little bit of a,
It's a relief.
reassurance. Yeah, and a relief right there. That's awesome that you say that the staff is trained to help de-escalate, children and meltdowns because parents could relate. You're in a crowded area, your kid's having a meltdown. It's a very high stress situation.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty cool that the staff are there trained to help de-escalate everything. So for the families to request lanyards like this, they go into My MIA Access.
That's
Can
correct.
you tell me about that?
Sure. We have a web page which is My MIA Access, and that covers all of the accessibility options and services that we provide our passengers and their families. So let's say if a family has a child on the spectrum and they want to request a lanyard, they just go into My MIA Access, request a lanyard, and then our staff will go ahead and mail it to them, provide it to them, and if we can actually bring them in for training too if they need some training. But the most important thing is that identifies the child as a child that has a potential need. And if he goes through our lines and nothing happens, that's fine. But if he does, he's easily identifiable, not just for us, but for, let's say, TSA, our partners, that when they're in the line, if they do have some kind of episode, that individual who's been trained can take the child with the parents out of the line, try to de-escalate them, and then once they're calm, put them back in line and get them, have them continue on their journey. No, and they can continue on their journey.
Oh, very cool. All right, so what about like service animals, therapy dogs? What if a traveler is bringing their therapy dog with them? What kind of services do you have?
Sure. So quite a few years ago, I want to say like 7 or 8 years ago, there was a federal mandate that we received, that all airports received, where we had to build service animal relief areas for individuals that have service animals. So we have right now 7 service animal relief areas, 3 outside the terminal and 4 inside the terminal at different concourses. And what those areas are is for a service animal to be able to go to the bathroom. So we have relief areas that we took essentially a room in 4 different rooms in in different concourses, and we built out relief areas for different service animals. So if somebody that has they have some kind of emotional or therapy dog, etc. What they can do is the dog has to has to go to the bathroom. They take them to the service relief areas, and they have the facilities where the dog can do whatever they need to do, and then they go ahead and we have within that facility equipment that'll clean up the area, etc. And then the person can go on their way on their journey with the dog. So that was a federal mandate. I think we were the first airport in the state of Florida to comply with the mandate. So we have that. We have 4 inside the terminal and 3 areas for service animal relief and other just traveling pet relief outside the terminal.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're pretty cutting edge when it comes to.
I love it. I'm loving all this.
To services provided to customers, people with special needs, animals, etc.
This is all incredible news. So, as a director of Miami-Dade Aviation, what airports fall directly under your responsibilities?
Okay, so I'm responsible what we call the Miami Airport System, which includes Miami International Airport, which is where we're at now, and also 4 general aviation or GA airports, and those include Miami Executive Airport, which we used to call Tamiami. I still call it Tamiami. Opelika Airport in the east. We also have Homestead Executive Airport deep in South Dade, and then we have a very large airfield in the Everglades near Collier County called Training and Technical or TNT Airport. So those 4 general aviation airports and Miami International, those 5 airports make up what we call the Miami Airport System, and that falls under my responsibility.
Oh, This is incredible information. Thank you for your time. Is there anybody else we need to recognize as a thank you for them helping us to be here?
Sure, actually, multiple people. So first and foremost, I mean, obviously our mayor, Daniela Lincava, she is extremely supportive of our airport. She's a big champion of our airport, and she's a huge champion for people with special needs.
Yes,
She is extremely, extremely, supportive of individuals with special needs and all the kind of programs that we have here. And whenever we have these programs, she always comes out to support them. So she's extremely supportive. Also, Commissioner Raquel Regalado from District 7.
Yes.
She's also a huge supporter of our special needs programs, and she's been a big champion of that as well. And I also want to recognize our team. We have our innovation team and our ADA and accessibility teams. They work on this type of thing all the time, and they're always looking for different opportunities to add additional services, things that put us on the cutting edge, anything that'll help with services that we can provide to people with special needs or people that need a little bit more assistance getting through our airport and just making their travel journey more pleasant. So we're always looking for different opportunities to do that.
Well, thank you so much. I'm sure our families would love to hear the information. I want to thank you for your time. Please be sure to follow them at iFlyMIA. Follow
right.
us at Stars Miami. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.